Welcome to the Firehouse, the show dedicated to the brave men and women who serve our community.
Welcome, and how is everybody doing? Welcome to the Firehouse on WRHU 88.7. I am your host, Chris Moses, and today, sitting with me in the Firehouse is my boy, Fitzroy Morgan. What's going on, brother?
It's all good, man. Good to see you, Chris. It's always a pleasure, man.
Yes, always a pleasure, man. So listen, I know who you are, but the listeners don't. So tell me a little bit about you. Tell me what department you're in, what company, how long you've been in, and even add in a little bit of the ranks that you held.
Yeah. I am going to sound biased, but I'm in the greatest fire department in the world.
There we go.
And that's the Uniondale Fire Department. I currently hold the position of captain in emergency company.
Okay.
One. Also a fire commissioner in Uniondale too.
Okay.
So that's just one of the titles that I own. And then there's other committees that I'm on within the fire department.
Okay.
Safety officer. I'm also on the exempt and benevolent and stuff like that. So.
Okay. So, well, tell me first, how long have you been in a whole? And I guess this encompasses everything. Like, how long have you been in the fire service?
So I joined June of 2005. So that roughly is about 19 years this year.
19 years.
It doesn't seem like much, man. Yeah. Especially when you see the newcomers joining and, after like 2 years, they're like, oh, I've been in 4 years or 3 years. And you're like, oh, and I've been in 19. But then when you hear senior guys.
Some of these kids are 19.
Yeah, are 19. Exactly.
They are 19. They are 19.
Definitely.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But all right, so 19 years in the fire service, there was a start. Something started you. What made you want to join the fire service? And I always say this to all my guests, while we're running this way, everyone's running that way. You got to be a little bit off to want to run into a burning building. So what made you say, you know what, I want to join the fire service?
All right, what happened? I didn't know anything about the fire service. I always drive by the firehouse, not drive, but ride by with my parents, or when I'm going to the high school and things like that. The school bus would pass the firehouse. So you wouldn't really, I didn't know much about the fire department. So I was working in 2005 at Jones Beach State Park, and there was a good friend of mine, DJ. We were doing the overnight shift, one of the concerts, making sure that we clean up after the concert was done. And he's like, you ever thought about, where do you live? I say Uniondale. He's like, you ever thought about joining the fire department? I'm like, the fire department? What is that? He's like, and he started telling me a little bit about how it works. And then he's like, you know what, stop down. You're going to meet with a friend of mine September, and he'll just show you around. Okay. And my intention was to check it out,
So September was already in?
September was already in.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
DJ was just, because he couldn't make it on that day of the week, and September would have been at the firehouse. He just told me to just connect with him. I met September, told me to come down on Sunday. So I came down, and I saw a few things, and I'm like, okay, this is different. And the more that you go down for training, you realize there's a lot more that you didn't expect.
There's a lot more.
So that's what sparked it.
Okay. And how old were you again?
I was about 23 when I joined.
23. Okay. So 23.
I joined. Yeah.
Did you have family? Was it just you? Did you have, girlfriend? Did you have all of that, or you didn't have anything yet? Because like for a person like me, I already was, married, had, at least one kid at the time, or going on 2. So where were you at there?
At the time I was in college. I was in college, finishing up it wasn't my last year. It was my junior year. And I had a girlfriend at the time, which is currently my wife now. Had no kids. Had a part-time job. Like I said, I worked at Jones Beach. So it's that phase when you're trying to go to school,
Yep.
make
Yep.
some kind of living to have some money to pay for some of your college expense, like your books or gas for your cars and things like that.
Yeah, so you're just making a
And
little
a
bit.
part-time job. So I wasn't really settled in my career or my profession. So I just gave it a shot to see, hey, let me see what's going on. And that's what ended up happening. My intention was to join, and then I probably would have gotten bored. But as you know, Chris,
Isn't that funny?
It makes
19
a difference.
years later,
Yeah.
right?
And I said,
Look at what
and
your
I'm still there.
intention was. Intention was, I'm going to do it,
I'm
maybe
do it
get
to
bored,
see.
and now look,
But you
19
see the
years
impact.
later.
That's
Yep.
what it is. Is when you help people and you make a difference. You truly make a difference, man.
Yeah.
And you realize, plus the camaraderie that's there, and the girls and guys, or the men and women who volunteer too, it becomes a second family. So
it does, definitely does. So 19 years. I know you got some stories from me, man. I know you got some stories. So tell me one or two stories. And before you do, I'm going to tell you a story that I know. So when I was in office, I think you were in office at the same time.
Yes.
Now, for the listeners, y'all don't know, I'm much calmer than what I used to be. I was a real hothead, always looking for this and all of that. And what I remember, and for our listeners that don't know, we have a thing called council. So it's all of the officers that come and they sit down and talk with the chiefs about issues, problems, and kind of just, looking at everything with the department. And I'm hothead. I'm all over the place. And no matter how hothead I got, no matter how hothead anyone in the room was, Fitz was always calm. Fitz was always calm, to the point, understood what the problem was. Even if you all hiding all of that, that wasn't Fitz. And I want to commend you for being that way, because that, honestly, whether you know it or not, taught a lot of people around to see, while all of this is going on and these people are all passionate, you were just like, all right, let's sit back. Let's look at the situation. I know you upset, buddy. I know you mad, but this is what it is. And I respect that a lot about you. I just wanted to make sure you understood that and knew that. I respect that a lot and honestly have learned from it. So that's my memorable story of Fitz in the Uniondale Fire Department.
I do appreciate that. It takes a lot of patience and trial and errors, and always evolving. Even now, having kids, you always got to evolve. You can't be the same person. You got to be open to listen, and that's
right.
why a lot of time I'm so quiet, because I'm listening to what people are saying, or what to take it in, so we could have a discussion. So there's two sides to the coin, So
always.
I can see it my way.
Took some time for me to learn that, but
sometimes it took me a while too, because sometimes I was a hothead earlier on in my life. But after a while, you realize that it's not just your way. You gotta listen to what the person is saying too, and understand where they're coming from, because there's different vantage point, a different perspective, and some of it sometimes you don't even see it that way. You're so vested in what you think or what you believe that you don't have the other person, you don't have
You're not even
to
seeing the whole picture.
So I already know my point, because it's my opinion
point.
and my point, but it's for me to listen and see what's going on with the other point. And that's why. And a lot of times, a lot of things is just miscommunication. You might have the same passion, but it's just executed differently. But the objective and the goal still remains the same. So a lot of time, if we coordinate and work together and listen to each other, we have a lot in common than we think.
And I love to hear that, spoken like a real a commissioner that the people elected for that reason. Because that level head. There's some people that don't, some people that do, but you have that level head. So thank you. But we need to get to a story. So Talk to me. I know you got a story or two. A good fire, even if it's EMS. Will you tell me whatever you got?
So I have two I got to think about. The first fire that I ever went into.
Okay.
I responded on the heavy rescue truck on the firefighting side, with DJ in September, as I mentioned before. Okay. And I think we were the last rig to get out. But by the time we got out, the fire was knocked down, and we just had overhaul to do.
Okay.
And what I just remember is the first time getting on the heavy rescue truck. At that time, you didn't have a cab. We weren't in the cab. It was just a chauffeur and an officer in the cab. We had to walk through. So I didn't know
Yep.
where I was going, and it was like my heart was racing. Everything was, I was just nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And I got off the fire truck, got my equipment, and turned around and look, and I was around the corner from where the firehouse was. It was like literally
Right there.
2 blocks. It was on Manor Parkway.
Oh, yeah, that's literally right there.
Yeah, so I remember the amount of people that showed up.
Okay, firefighters or just everybody?
No, it was firefighter, EMS.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my gosh! And this is my first time. We've trained,
But
and
you ain't
can
nothing
never
like the
be
first
prepared.
time.
Yeah. And we went down and started overhaul, and then you see where the fire started, and just seeing the charring and the alligator skin type of effect that fire does, and how it expanded, and you kind of sit back in a maze, and just seeing what fire can do, seeing when a bunch of people and volunteers at that come together to protect the structure and any life that was there. That was amazing to me. But the amount of people that showed up, and the love, and each person checking to make sure the next person is good, everything went good, and so forth. That I think lasts with me a very, very long time.
Which is so crazy because I was talking with another guest before that had came, and that's what they were saying. It doesn't matter what went on before at the firehouse, who you mad at, who's this. Once you get in there, it's all of us against the fire. That's it.
It's definitely, and the two win. No matter. I mean, I've had, and I've had a little disagreement with people in the fire department, and it's a growing phase.
Yep.
But never at once, it never came across that because I disagree with somebody that I would be in a fire and needing help, and that person wouldn't be there. Yeah. That doesn't even cross your mind at all.
Yep.
If one of our guys is in there, or any guy, even the mutual aid, people from other town that you may have never met or spoken to, we work for each other, and that's a good thing. That's a great thing about the fire department. It's like a worldwide brotherhood. I went to London in 2022 to my cousin's wedding.
Oh, you got to tell me about that, because I ain't never been to London and looked at the firehouse. How was that?
Their fire department, department and engine is similar to us, but the truck is designed differently. They carry different things, but it's like the same concept.
Okay.
But the connection. Once I told them that, listen, I'm a volley in New York, and they was like, welcome in. They gave me the tour, showed me where their sleeping quarters were. They have a pole in their firehouse, just like, most volunteers don't have now. Some city firehouse do, some don't. But they were, you went down that, you saw where they eat, where they cook, where they, I was introduced to a lot of guys. They gave me the tour as if they were recruiting me to join. See? It was like they rolled out the red carpet.
That brotherhood.
And, I got two T-shirts and stuff like that. I tell them anytime they're in my neck of the woods, you're more than welcome.
Come by.
And that's one of the things with fire department. Not just, people pass by, drove through the community. Sometimes they're lost. They want to know where places are, and they'll ask for a street, and we are more than welcome. And it's the same thing with anyone who wants to, take a tour. Because it's a beautiful thing to be a part of, and why keep it to yourself? Share it with others.
Definitely, when we, especially during the summer, seeing kids come, I'm always, sitting in front of the firehouse, and I've seen other companies sitting in front of the firehouse. Come on, kids, drive by, come get on the rig, come take a look, because these are your future firemen or future firewomen or future firefighters. That's what's there. So I definitely, always want to embrace that. But tell me another story. I know you got another story. Any other good story of anything that happened, EMS side or fire?
So EMS side.
All right.
This
is what I want to hear, because I know y'all see some stuff.
Listen, it's EMS. I gotta say, the job that they do or we do is extremely commendable, because people are calling you at their most vulnerable moment. It's the same thing with firefighting too. People are calling you when they're in need of help.
That's right.
And sometimes they're the last thing that they might see, and the care that you have to put forth. So I've had to I've had calls on the EMS side responding with the ambulance where you're treating someone who is unconscious,
Mm,
whether doing CPR, reviving them.
that's what
But my most memorable call was a lady she was having some difficulty breathing. And when we got there, she was in the tripoding position. That's when your arms is on your knees and you're kind of you form a tripod, and difficulty breathing, getting the information. I believe I wasn't sure what exactly her difficulty breathing was, but was it from asthma or some airway obstruction or whatever? After checking her out, asking question, medical history, and so forth, we transported her to the hospital. And she was really in bad condition, like most asthmatic, or people who's having difficulty breathing. You feel like nothing that you can do can get better.
can help
So you
them.
try to position yourself
Mhm.
to try and get even a little small amount of breath in and stuff. So we put on a non-rebreather, transported her to the hospital. And I think like a month later, I was in either Walmart or a store. And I'm like, that lady looked familiar. And I'm like, wait, that's the lady that we took to the hospital. I had difficulty breathing and everything. And just to see that, like, she was at a vulnerable state.
That's the reward right there.
And then to see her a month later, that, it says every little bit that you do help. You might not really know.
Yep.
A lot of times when you go in and stop a fire, prevent a person from losing their home,
That's right.
or bringing somebody to the hospital and stuff like that. A lot of times you may not run into the person to really know the impact that you had on their life, whether their house is burnt down and they got to start everything from scratch, or you stop the fire to where they can have things that means a lot to them, saved.
Yep.
So you never get that chance.
It is so true, because this is coming from firsthand experience. Because in the volleys, and I'm gonna say it, I know that the listeners, may feel a certain type of way. You may a little bit too, but it's the truth. Like, firefighters, especially in the volleys, they'll be like, "Oh, Band-Aid brigade" and all this stuff, and you get all beaten on your chest until you need them. Yeah. And for me, it happened. I had a motorcycle accident. I don't know if you remember when I had a motorcycle accident, and it was in Uniondale, and who came for me was emergency company number 1. I am laying on the side of the parkway, and they came, picked me up with the utmost respect. Mind you, they now know me. They know me, and I would never forget how comfortable they made me feel. I forgot who was on the rig. I think at the time it was Corinne. Corinne was in, and she's talking to me the whole time, asking me questions about my family, trying to keep me with it, just everything they did. And it gave me a whole new outlook and a whole new, respect for what EMS does. And I think I even stood up at the meeting and was like, "Thank you, and you will never hear not one joke again from me again in my life." You know what I'm saying? Because seriously, man, y'all don't know what they're doing, and that it takes a lot to do that and still, be professional, and still, like you said, later on seeing this person, they don't even know what you did for them, but I was in the great position to know what was done and be able to say thank you. So.
Yeah. And sometimes you do some of the good things that you do end up receiving communication, like thank you letters, because we just got one that was read during this month's meeting, the meeting that was on Tuesday, thanking the department for responding and the professionalism that they showed and things. So we do get
those thank yous
and so forth, which we appreciate too. It just lets you know how much the community recognize and appreciate the service,
which
that
makes
we
it
do.
all worth it. So I got some more questions for you before we get out of here. I got some more questions. First question: what is something that is a common myth about firefighting, about what you do, whether it's firefighter or EMS, that you want to debunk right now?
That I would say that people in the fire department is crazy, meaning, like you had mentioned at the beginning, in the beginning, that you're running in while everybody else is running out. That's what it is. But the training, the dedication, prepare you for these things.
There we go.
So what most people might see as a chaotic day, you see it as just another day. So I think that's one of the things. And a lot of people say, I wouldn't do that. I couldn't do that. Well, that used to be me when I first was coming, joining, until you go and see the difference that you make and the training that you rely on, and so forth. You're exposed to a lot of things that the normal, like everyone, the everyday person wouldn't see. But you realize that just like your job, you might start a job and you don't know how to do something, but after training and repetition and constant repetition and training, it becomes, you get assimilated to it.
Yep. And then
So I think that's the thing that most people should look at, that it's a great opportunity and a brother and sisterhood, and that not all of us is crazy.
There you go. Yeah. So that's one thing we want to debunk, that firefighters are not crazy. Yeah. We rely on training. We love the brotherhood, and that's the reasons why we are here. Yeah. And I love that. All right. So we got a game that we're going to play before we get out of here, all right? The game is called the flashover. Okay. Fitz, tell them what a flashover is. What is a flashover?
Okay. A flashover is when oxygen is depleted out of a room. So what happens is you have materials that burn. So for example, if you have a bedroom and all the oxygen is depleted out of it because the fire needs oxygen, material, and other things. The fire tetrahedron for you to have fire. Once it's depleted, the oxygen burns out. Sometimes you'll have like a puffing, or that's some of the effects that you can see. But once you introduce oxygen into that, all of a sudden you have a reignition, a spontaneous reignition, and it just flashes because it goes as if when you turn on the
same
lighter.
Time, quickly, like that. So that's the base of this game. It's about being really quick. All right, that's the base of this game. So I may say something like Android or Apple, and you got to tell me which one. But we're gonna do TVs and movie shows. Okay. All right. So Fitz, are you ready for the flashover?
Yeah.
You're ready for it, okay? Ready. Quick. Remember, I need it quick, real quick answer. Quick. All right, here we go. Ready?
Yep.
Chicago Fire Rescue Me.
TV show?
Yep,
or?
TV show. Chicago Fire Rescue Me.
If you didn't Rescue Me.
Rescue Me.
Yes.
Rescue Me Third Watch.
Rescue Me, I would say.
Rescue Me. Backdraft Ladder 49.
Ladder 49.
Ladder 49. And the most important question I'm going to ask you today, engine or truck?
You know what I'm going to say. I am dedicated. I know I'm going to say rescue, but it is truck.
It is truck.
And the way our Uniondale Fire Department was broken up, it's and most firefighter would understand. It's engine or truck. You either belong to an engine or a truck. But part of emergency company that I'm in is there's two roster. There's the EMS side, which does the ambulance and medical emergencies, and they go to all fires too, because if firefighters get hurt or there's any occupants. So that's called EMS. And the firefighting side, which is the other roster, which does firefighting and EMS, is called rescue. So that's why I said rescue, but rescue does truck work. It's truck work.
Definitely
no matter
truck
what.
work.
But I'm just custom to say
I always
got
to ask that.
So
yes, for the volleys, I gotta say
I would say
truck.
Because I'm gonna be biased on that.
There we go. And that's fine. I have some truckies that came in.
But that doesn't mean I don't understand that that engine work is very vital, because without the engine, the little water can that I carry can't put out a bedroom. So you work in tandem with each other, and that's the good thing.
And that's the most important, that we work in tandem with everything. All right. So listen, I got one last question for you. What is one piece of advice that you would give to someone listening here that wants to join or is just got in? Like, what is one thing, one nugget that you'd want to give them?
So if you haven't joined and you'd be interested in joining, it's one of the greatest impact that you can have on your community.
That's right.
You're providing a service that's, you don't ever want to need that service, meaning that you don't want to get sick where you're at your lowest moment. You never want to have a fire. You don't ever want to need us, but it's something that when you need us, that you're happy that we're there. So just for the people who are interested in joining, it makes a huge impact on your community. The friendship that you will make there, the experience, and then you within the volley. The thing that I love about the volleys, you have people from different ethnicity and background, and in different occupations. So
you go blue collar versus white collar, everything.
Great way to network and connection, and everyone in the fire service know someone.
Yep.
So if you need something and I can't, I know somebody.
I know somebody that knows it, or at least I know the person that will know. But like, you know what? I don't know, but I know for a fact Fitz will know.
Yeah, and it's great. It definitely is. And if you're in the fire department and you're new, enjoy it.
There you go.
Enjoy it, because those moments I miss when I was a probie. Like, you get excited. Now you do a lot of management, and as you move up in rank, as you know, you're ex-captain, that you do a lot of more of people management and so forth. But you still get firework to do, but what happens is it's like riding a roller coaster for the first time, the adrenaline, the excitement. Yeah. So just enjoy it. And just bond. Newer people might want to stand off by themselves or relate to who they're accustomed to, but speak to everyone and learn from their stories.
That's right.
Which is beautiful.
And that's what this show is for, learning from people's stories and how they started. And hopefully you'll take something out of this, and then you'll come join. You know, like we always say, listen, if you want to join, just literally walk down to your local firehouse and they will embrace you. Walk down there. Go there on a Sunday. That's the best day. We always say that is our day. Go there on a Sunday morning. Don't show up at no 12 o'clock because I ain't taking you serious. Show up. Show up at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock on the dot, and tell them you want to join, and they will really lay the red carpet out, show you, and let you know what you have to do. And as long as you stay dedicated, you'll be there. 19 years we're sitting here with right now.
How long have you been in?
How long has it been? I want to say 15. 14 or 15. Yeah,
it goes by quick.
It goes so fast.
But the fascinating thing is, the chief a couple months ago had training, and then they lined up the members in age rank, like from your age, from lowest to highest, and then one of the oldest person was like 60 something years old, and then no, it wasn't. It was 70 something years old, 70 something. And then they did years in the fire department, and it went from 9 months to like 50 years.
Isn't that crazy?
And I was like,
sitting there to actually visually see
and
it.
I'm like, I got 19 years, and a person who's been in 3 years looking at me like, you've been here a long time. And then I hear 50 years, and I'm like,
wow. That needs to be displayed more. And I'm gonna give you a suggestion, because our installation dinner is coming up. And I don't know if you ever been to a wedding where they do that. And they make everyone come on the dance floor, and they're dancing. They're like, oh, if you have 5 years or less, get off. If you have 10 years or less, get off the day. We should do that at the installation.
We should.
And have everyone up there and see who's the last one on that floor. Tell all Uniondale, because we get everybody, but all Uniondale come to the floor. We want everyone, and then play the song, and as they get off, so we can see who that is, and just whether they're getting a pin, whether they get whatever, just give them their flowers right then and there. Yes. We should really think about that. That would be dope, just to see that, because I wish I was there to see that, like to see that person there. That's pretty dope.
I'll speak to the rest of the board, and that's why I think that would definitely be something, because you always want to acknowledge how long someone's been in there. That they're not being replaced, but that you're dedicated, and that's exemplary to me. Like, to see someone 50 years, I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be here for 50 years, but I'm gonna do it.
At least I can try. Look, they still here. So.
And the stories and how things change within the fire service is always good to hear those things. So it's inspirational.
Listen, Fitz, my brother.
Right, man.
Listen, thank you for coming down and blessing the Firehouse and talking to them about your stories, for real. Like I've been telling everybody, we kind of just started the show, but we want people to come back. So I hope I could reach back out to you to come back, give more updates, and even more stories.
It's
I would
definitely a
love that.
pleasure, man. Definitely a pleasure
Thank you.
anytime, and it's good seeing you as always, bro.
As always, brother. As always.
We've worked in the fire service for a long time together, and
For a minute.
have implemented the great changes too. So
Yes, we
you
have.
know, so
Yes, we
that's-
definitely
that's-
have.
So that's a great thing.
Yes,
and
we
you can make
have.
an impact, no matter whether you are in for a year to 50 years. You can
can make an
bring in
impact.
fresh ideas and things like that. So it's always a pleasure, and
Thank you.
and my schedule is open. Just let me know, and
Thank you.
pop
Thank
in.
you. So, everybody, thank you so much for coming. We just heard from Fitzroy Morgan of Uniondale Emergency Company 1 about his life as a firefighter. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Please like, share, subscribe. I am your host, Chris Moses, for WRHU 88.7, The Firehouse. Please tune in next week for another great conversation in the Firehouse.
Join in the festivities as Chief Anthony Capone and the Valley Stream Fire Department hosts the Nassau County Firefighters Parade in conjunction with Engine Company 4's remarkable milestone of 100 years. On Friday, June 21st, indulge in delicious food and refreshing beverages provided by Paul Evans Catering and live music by Crucify. On Saturday, June 22nd, grab a chair and witness the Valley Stream Fire Department host the Nassau County Firefighters Parade, starting at Rockaway Parkway and Wheeler Avenue, and ending at the Village Green with children's amusements, food and beverage, and a live performance by Decadia. Celebrate WRHU, the greatest show on earth.